across the country are gripped by the fervour of Tihar festivities as it is Tika, the last and the most significant day of Tihar celebrations today. The Bal Gopaleshwar temple in the capital's Rani Pokhari is also open to the public for the only day today as people who are not blessed with brothers and sisters partake in the ceremonial Tika after offering prayers at the sacred site. Meanwhile, the festive atmosphere in the country will continue as the nation observes Chhath festival in just over 2 days' time. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Tika, the last and the most significant day of Tihar festival, being celebrated with much fanfare and enthusiasm across the country. Government funds reach 171 billion rupees as development work payments still to be disbursed. Markets still dormant despite increasing in foreign currency reserves. Israeli forces enter Gaza's largest hospital in what the military says is a targeted operation. Eyewitness says Israeli forces are interrogating people inside the hospital. And Nepal's women's cricket team suffers a 27-run defeat to Tanzania at the quadrangle T20I series that began in Hong Kong today. The major day of Tihar Tika is being observed today. The day is being marked by sisters putting on 7-colored Tika on the forehead of their brothers. Sisters put on 7 colors Tika on the forehead of their brothers, wishing for long life, good health and prosperity. After applying Tika on their brothers, the sisters provide dry fruits and sweets to their brothers, while the brothers gift clothes and cash to their sisters based on their capacity. It is believed that Yamaraj, the god of death, had received Tika from his sister Yamuna on the day of Tika. According to Nepal Calendar Determination Committee, the auspicious time for Tika was set at 10:51 a.m. today. The committee had added that Tika could be received any time throughout the day after the auspicious time. The temple of Bal Gopaleshwar in the middle of the capital's Rani Pokhari has been thronged by Tika revelers since early morning today. The Bal Gopaleshwar temple opens to public only on the Tika day once a year. There is a large throng of Tika revelers, especially siblings who have not been blessed with brothers and sisters as they perform the Tika ritual at the temple premise. Meanwhile, since the temple is only opened on this day of Tika, other Tihar revelers and devotees also visit the temple today. In another development, Kathmandu metropolis yesterday denied the Madheshi community to observe Chhath festival at the temple premise for the second consecutive year. The Kathmandu metropolis has said that it does not have the authority to give permission to use the temple as a site to celebrate Chhath festival. The Chhath organizing committee in Kathmandu has lamented the decision taken by the metropolis. Earlier, the tradition of celebrating Chhath at the temple premises had started from the year 2006. The temple has not been used for Chhath festival due to reconstruction works in the wake of the 2015 April earthquake. President Ramchandra Podil has also received Tika today. He received his Tika from his sisters Sharada Pandit and Chanda Ojha earlier today. According to President's Secretariat, President Podil received his Tika at the auspicious timing of 10:51 a.m. this morning at his official residence in Sital Niwas. Now, Anjali Maski, who has been applying group Tika in capital's Basantapur for the past 25 years, has given continuity to the trend. Maski, popularly known as Anjali Didi, puts Tika on those who do not have sisters or are unable to receive Tika from their sisters on the occasion of Tika. Maski had begun putting group Tika since the Nepali year 2055. People from different places reach capital's Basantapur to receive Tika from Maski. She prepares all the essential items required for Tika. Despite observing Tika as per tradition, she does not accept gifts and money in return. Women and men clad in their traditional clothes have played dosi with traditional musical instruments in Pachthar. Saying the influence of Western elements had encroached Nepali culture during Tihar, the local young generation has begun a campaign for the conservation of traditional practices. Having named Tihar as Walihang Tangnam, people of the Limbu community have played Tamlingeng Laringek. The young generation in Patsar has played Deusi with traditional practices with the objective of conserving the traditions. Members of the Rai community have also played Deusi with their traditional attire and musical instruments. Similar practice was also seen in the Magar community as they have played Deusi with their traditional attire and performing Kauda and Hurra. It had been a long time since Deusi was performed in traditional attire in Patsar. The local residents have said that the awareness in the young generation has further added excitement and entertainment. All festivals of Nepal have the traditional elements, however the lapses in transfer of knowledge from old to new generation and the trend of leaving the country among the young generation have led to the increase in integration of Western elements of Nepali festivals. In such a situation, the awareness among the youth in Patsar has aided in conservation of traditional practices. Preparations are underway for Chhath festival in Madhesh province capital Janakpur Dham. As in the previous years, the local residents are busy in sanitation works of ponds and water bodies. Several youth clubs and organizations of Janakpur Dham have begun decorating ponds for Chhath. The local youth organizations have collected funds to ensure sanitation of several ponds inside the city and manage electricity and places to perform puja. Chhath festival, which previously was observed mainly in the Tarai region, is now observed throughout the country. The government account has witnessed a rise of 100 billion rupees. While the state coffers had 71.98 billion rupees in the Nepali month of Asar, it has now increased by 100 billion rupees and stands at 171 billion rupees. The amount in the fund has increased because of revenue collection and not releasing payments for development and construction works. Businesses have said that the government is yet to release payments of around 6 billion rupees. With the government target of revenue collection set at 1,422 billion rupees, the government has already collected 276 billion, which is 19.44% of the target. During this period last year, 260 billion rupees or 18.58% had been collected. Businesses have alleged the government of failing to expedite development and construction works and the Nepal Rashtra Bank of failing to revive the market. Corruption has been rampant in local levels as opposed to the intention of federalism that otherwise should have controlled financial irregularities. This is evident in the growing number of complaints registered at the corruption watchdog CIAA and the reports by the Office of the Auditor General. It may be recalled some time back, the chief of Saptari's Sambhunath municipality, Jitendra Prasad Gupta, was sacked after he was found guilty of corruption by the special court. Likewise, Boder Basa municipality's chief Atish Kumar Singh Yadav, Rajbiraj municipality chief Bhimraj Yadav, Bishnupur rural municipality chief Umesh Prasad Yadav are all facing charges of corruption and have been suspended. Elsewhere in Dhanusha, the ward chair of Nagarain municipality, Chief Administration Officer of Sudadhan Rural Municipality in Rupandehi and Chair of Ward Number 7, among others, also face allegations of corruption. The Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority, CIA, last year received over 20,000 complaints of corruption, 36% of which was related to local levels. The authority, after investigations, had filed 162 cases at the special court, with 141 of the defendants being local representatives. Apart from rising corruption, local levels outstanding payments have also been increasing. Based on the latest report by the Office of Auditor General, 751 local levels out of 753 have outstanding payments of 42,880 million rupees. This is 3.88% of the total outstanding payments. Experts say this scenario highlights that corruption is taking place with a nexus between people's representatives and government officials. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, why has the monitoring of vehicles looked feeble during festivity? Your options are A. Negligence on part of authority, B. Increase in number of passengers, and C. Lack of human resource. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. Israel has said its forces are carrying out a precise and targeted operation at the Al-Shifa hospital. Israel has claimed the hospital, the largest in the Gaza Strip, includes a Hamas command center, an allegation denied by hospital officials and Hamas. Hundreds of staff and patients are inside Al-Shifa, according to most recent reports, along with several thousand people who sought shelter from Israel's offensive. The hospital director said the situation was catastrophic prior to the raid by Israeli forces. A journalist inside the hospital has told that soldiers are going room to room and questioning people, but there is currently no shooting taking place. The same witness said commando soldiers had entered the main emergency department with tanks also in the hospital area. Israel accuses Hamas of running a command center in tunnels under the hospital, and the US says it has intelligence that supports this. Hamas denies this and says the raid on the hospital is a war crime. Hundreds of civilians have been sheltering there alongside patients. The Gazan people are struggling for sustenance as the densely populated Palestinian enclave of 2.3 million people is running critically low on fuel and food supplies amid Israel's continuing blockade and persistent bombardments. Due to supply interruption, most food stores in southern Gaza have closed, which has dealt a heavy blow to internally displaced people who have no place to cook. So local people are building makeshift kitchens on the roadside with whatever they have at hand to make some basic food and sell at low prices to the public. Newly made clay stoves were seen basking on the roadside. Being cut off gas, local residents have to resort to original way of cooking. The stoves are made of clay and grass and may easily crack. Without fuel, some people have to use edible oil to power their cars. Compared to diesel, whose price has skyrocketed to some $11 per liter and which is difficult to buy, edible oil worth about $2 per liter has become a substitute for gasoline and diesel for a while. Gaza's ruling Islamist group Hamas launched a surprise attack on Israel on October 7, firing thousands of rockets and infiltrating Israeli territory, to which Israel responded with massive airstrikes, ground operations and punitive measures, including a siege on the Gaza Strip, with supplies of water, electricity, fuel and other necessities being cut off. Now, the old city of Jerusalem, a revered site for Judaism, Christianity and Islam, remains embroiled in the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict, leading to a decline in tourists and heightened security tensions in the area. Tourism has been severely impacted by the conflict. The usually bustling passage into the old city through the Jaffa Gate has seen a significant decline in visitors. The absence of tour guides and large groups is noticeable, with locals predominantly seen in the vicinity. The iconic Western Wall stands largely devoid of visitors. The usually packed square during peak tourist season is now deserted. The bridge leading to the Dome of the Rock, a highly revered Islamic site, also lacks the normal queues of tourists waiting to enter. The Dome of Rock, situated on the Temple Mount, has been a frequent site of religious disputes and historical grievances between Israelis and Palestinians. At non-prayer times, it is challenging to find any tourists present at the moment. Japan's economy contracted in July-September, snapping 2 straight quarters of expansion on soft consumption and exports, complicating the central bank's efforts to gradually phase out its massive monetary stimulus amid rising inflation. Gross domestic product (GDP) in the world's third largest economy contracted 2.1% in the third quarter, government data showed today, a much larger decline than a median market forecast for an annualized 0.6% fall. It followed an expansion of 4.5% in the previous quarter. The weak reading reflects lackluster consumption and capital expenditure, dashing policymakers' hopes for a post-pandemic rebound in domestic activity to offset weaker external demand from China and elsewhere. Sri Lanka's top court ruled that former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his brother, former Prime Minister Mahinda, were among several government officials whose conduct contributed to the country's worst economic crisis in decades. The ruling was on a petition filed against 13 former officials by rights group Transparency International Sri Lanka (TISL), which said the Rajapaksa brothers and others were responsible for the crisis. The 2 Rajapaksa brothers, 2 former central bank governors and President Ranil Wickremesinghe were among those named in the landmark petition. Wickremesinghe was Prime Minister at the time of the crisis. Sri Lanka's economy collapsed as it shrank 7.8% last year, pummeled by long power cuts, soaring inflation, a plunging rupee and record high interest rates caused by the worst financial crisis in over 7 decades. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.